So it's interesting. So I've been kind of diving into crypto a lot more lately and kind of trying to understand the marketplace and what's going on, where I think there's opportunity. We started talking about in the stream probably about a month ago. We called out ADA, I think around $1 before it went up to 250. So we're starting to dive in a little bit more and kind of figure out where we see opportunity. And crypto's an interesting space because it's pulled back. Everything's pulled back from a high at this point. Bitcoin was at like 56K a coin or a token, and then everything else is pulled down. I think ADA, which is Cardano. I keep saying it wrong. I'm just gonna say ADA. ADA was, I think, hit 250. Now it's at around $1.50. Ethereum was like at 40 for around 4,000, and now it's at like the 2,300 level. So everything's pulled back a lot, and I've been really trying. I have an interesting perspective that I've kind of created based on the crypto
George, how
space
we doing, sir?
of what I might take place, or what might happen. Um, so yeah, so when
Happy
I've been
Pride Month,
diving
by the
in,
way, people. Totally
at that
forgot to
time,
say that. Yeah. All right. Come on,
but
GTA.
what I've been kind of like looking. If you wanna, my GTA is still loading. If you wanna bring up the PowerPoint real quick.
Okay.
On my game.
PowerPoint. Oh, my bad, my bad.
Thanks for the follow, as Randy said. Appreciate you. You a real one, and
You got your PowerPoint up? I see your Twitch.
Oh,
There
it's
you go.
just changing. It's changing screen pictures. I was looking at it for comments, but
Are you good?
yeah. So this is kind of a log scale. So log scale basically makes the lower prices less have impact on the chart. So if we were to do a linear scale, like the peaks and dips would be much larger, but a log scale kind of like puts it closer together to kind of see the true up and downs on the graph. It makes everything a little less dramatic and gives you maybe a better picture of how the total crypto space has moved. So, kind of what's been going on with a lot of people's perspective on crypto is like we've hit about the halfway mark of the next bull run. So, as you can kind of see, we topped out the last bull run around 2018 at the total crypto market cap at 1 trillion, and we pulled back here to about 100 billion, and then we made this crazy run since hitting a low back in 2019, and we made this kind of crazy run from 100 billion market cap up past a 1 trillion all-time high, and whatever this number is, I don't have the live chart so I can't see, but quite a bit higher. And you see this recent pullback, and so as you can see here, we went from like just over 10 billion to 100 from to a trillion, which is that's a crazy growth. And so that's why people are like, they only think we're halfway through, is because we're not even close to as much growth that we had in the last bull cycle for crypto. But I've been kind of like taking inventory of what's been happening. Dude, my game is still not loading. I don't know what's happening. I think we're gonna have to RIP on Grand Theft Auto as well.
All right. We
And I don't know what's happening.
It's good. It's
My
good.
computer's tripping on me. I gotta task manner this real quick. 1 second. So annoying. End that task because it's freezing my computer.
In the meantime, I just sold some of my Dogecoin.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I sold half of what I had. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough that I had to let it go.
So
Going
as Fall Guys goes, kind of jumps up. Like, so people think we're like at the halfway point of the next bull run, but I'm starting to think that it might not be the case, for a few reasons. So one is I personally have seen that crypto has kind of mimicked the stock market for the most part. So not as of lately from the dip, but before that, like the market was going up when crypto did, and crypto pulled back when the market did, and it kind of was following the same trajectory. And I think it's because we have so many more retail traders owning crypto now than we did maybe in 2016 or 2017. And so, people who are buying all the meme stocks or buying all the high tech growth, because that's what most of these young retail traders are buying, like ourselves. We're kind of seeing, I think, a parallel between the stock market and crypto. And something really interesting is when we saw crypto pull back on May 15th, that was when the popular tech stocks like PLTR, XPEV, some of these really popular names, that's when they bottomed and started moving higher. So what you literally see potentially is retail traders moving from crypto back to the growth names in the stock market. But I think that's the first thing we have to think about is the current person who owns crypto is much different than the last bull cycle. Another thing that's happened is there's a lot more. If you want to invite me to a Fall Guys game, the next thing that you have to think about is the next thing is that a lot more coins have gone into the exchanges. So forgot I was going to look up it before the start of the stream, but there's so many more tokens than there was back in 2016 or 2017. And so what that does is that dilutes the amount of people who are buying, I would say, the more legit coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance, ADA, I think is a little more legit at this point. And so you have a dilution out of the more popular crypto and the legit ones that are going to survive. And you have more money going to quote unquote the shit coins. And so that's really important because that's going to truly impact the short-term upside in these I think in the crypto market. And so kind of like what I think are, this is a different slide, but let me go to the next one. Actually, there's one more point I want to bring up.
Not the Doge. I had to, man. I had to let it go.
So the another thing to think about is the change in the investor. So this is a graph that shows Bitcoin divided by Cardano. And so what that basically means is the higher the price of Bitcoin compared to ADA, the higher this chart grows. But the higher ADA goes compared to Bitcoin, the lower the graph goes. And what we're seeing in the market right now is ADA has significantly outperformed Bitcoin, and we're basically testing all-time lows of this ratio. And so in my mind, that thinks that something might be brewing. We could see a change in the type of crypto that people own by the retail adoption. And, we might see a shift where Bitcoin is no longer the dominant crypto. I don't think that's going to happen, in my opinion. But we're seeing an all-time low in this ratio, which points to me that this chart needs to start moving the opposite way, which means I think there's a couple scenarios. And this graph is the same exact for Ethereum and a lot of these other kind of smaller altcoins, as people call them. And so I kind of put together a couple scenarios I think could happen for the crypto space. So the first thing is, as I said a second ago, the ratio between Bitcoin and altcoins is changing. So that just means altcoins continue to move higher where Bitcoin doesn't move up as much in a percentage point basis, which in turn means prices going up in altcoins more than they do Bitcoin. The second thing that could happen is Bitcoin goes on a run and altcoins consolidate. And so basically what that means is if Bitcoin's price goes up but altcoins stay the same, then that ratio I showed you on the chart that price will start going upwards. Another thing that I think could happen in the crypto space is that Bitcoin consolidates and altcoins move lower. And so basically this is another thing that would move that graph I showed you up higher over, say, the next 6 months or something. And the last, I think, of these scenarios that could happen is, Chrome's trying to update on me. The last scenario I think could happen is that the whole crypto market actually pulls back farther. And so basically what that means, and Bitcoin not falling as drastic as the altcoins do. And that would also move that graph higher in price. And so I'm starting to just think about the crypto space a little bit different and how it's changed. And so this is something that I would start, I would advise everyone else to start thinking about is There's thousands of more coins on the market. Let me see if I have another slide here. I don't remember if I do.
What up, Junes? You want some Fall Guys? We're doing it, man.
Do you still have the thing on the screen, Nate, by chance?
Yeah, you're up.
Okay. And so, why I think a crash could potentially happen, and Nate, if you could tell me if people are chatting because I don't have it up,
Yeah,
if they have any questions.
of course.
But so, why I think a crash could happen based on all the points I just laid out is so when we think back to the dot-com crash, to give context around it, is the stock market got crazy overvalued to levels never seen before. And then basically that caused all these, I would say, really speculative tech names that really had really high valuations and no revenue sell off drastically. And it essentially created the whole stock market to crash. And so I'm starting to think that crypto might need something similar to the dot-com bubble for the legit coins and crypto to actually survive. So this is kind of, and I would curious of your perspective on this, Nate.
Yeah.
Do you think Amazon and other tech names that were around during the dot-com bubble would be successful if there wasn't a crash? And my theory behind this is there was so much money going to these companies that were shitty, just like there's shit coins now.
Yeah.
There's so much money going to shitty coins that would suppress the growth that Amazon could achieve because there wasn't as much consumer investment in the company.
100% agree with that.
I think that a crash actually helped out the legit companies. And the only reason Amazon is as big as it is today is because of all the shitty companies that, they ended up delisting from the stock market, and all that money that were in the shitty companies went to Amazon and maybe these more legit companies.
Yeah. No,
That's kind of a wild theory, but what do you think about that?
I think it's a fair theory, right? I mean, money's got to go somewhere. People pull it, move it, whatever you call it. But I think with specifically crypto, because it's so volatile and speculative by nature, that's kind of a telltale sign of what's to come. And Rice, thank you for the bits, man. 100 bits. Greatly appreciate you.
Guys, boy, you the man. You the man. You the man. You the man.
King, I don't know where you dipped out at, but welcome back. You can always go back and check out. How do we always get fucking eliminated, man? It's fucking pissing me off.
I don't know. I did really well on that level.
Yes, I won. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, man. I think it's interesting in considering Amazon's. Are they at $3,300 now a share?
Something like that.
Pull up our main game. But
Yeah, you pulled the main game now. But I just think that's an interesting perspective, and I think in my mind, because of the growth of crypto, and I've been making the comparison to the dot-com bubble for
I saw that. Yeah.
maybe the last 4 weeks or something like that. What's up, King Boom? Yeah, we're just talking about the crypto space, and to put it really generally speaking, altcoins have been outperforming Bitcoin quite severely. I don't watch videos. Lol.
Hey, if you guys want to hop in Fall Guys, let us know. We're down.
Yeah, if you want to play with us, just jump on. Yeah, and that's kind of my point, King Baboon, is we've seen so many new tokens come onto the market in crypto that
So
it's
many,
been
dude.
diluting the I think the impact and growth that Bitcoin and Ethereum and these other legit coins could have. And so I think there's a risk of the stock market.
Oh, King thinks there's going to be
Or
new
not
lower
stock
support.
market.
What do you think about
I think
that?
there could be a bigger pullback in crypto. This is very theoretical. There's so much love in crypto space, and hedge funds are buying into certain things at this point. But as I was just mentioning, is I think for companies during the dot-com bubble to be successful, that there's a lot of companies like the dot-com bubble had to happen for Amazon to be as successful as it is today. And I think the same thing has to happen for crypto. We need a crazy crash in crypto for the Bitcoins, the Ethereums of the world to actually be successful in the long term, because capital is pushing to those shit coins and things like, I'm sorry everybody, but Dogecoin as of today is a shit coin.
Thank you again, Rice.
Legit about the company.
For Junes. Troll.
What do you say?
100 bits for Junes.
Lol.
Nicely done, Rice. Nicely done.
So I think the first point is I think I would argue that a bigger crash has to happen. I mean, like something significant that
Shit.
scares all the scared money out of it, and people who, because like
Literally,
when I go
literally
online,
make
there's
the
nothing but bulls, bro. Everyone's like, buy the dip, buy the dip, even though it's has come down this much. Everyone's just like, buy the dip, buy the dip. That's all I see online, and
Are you
for me,
talking like
that's a red
Reddit in
flag.
particular?
Like stock twits, like I'm on
Oh
stock
yeah,
twits all
yeah,
the time
yeah,
now because I've been posting there more often,
yeah.
and all people say is buy the dip, buy the dip.
A pump and
95%
dump.
of people are saying buy
Yeah,
the dip,
yeah,
which for me, if there's that much, that's too positive about things. Like you need a certain level of bearishness for something to go up
yeah. You
over
need
time.
sustainability. What the? What?
You need a balance.
Yeah, exactly. How did I get stuck on that? That didn't make
So I
sense.
think there has to be a crash in these shit coins to go to zero. Unfortunately, for people to lose a lot of money in crypto, so that all that money can start
Fucking
going to the legit products like the legit
yeah, I
projects,
agree. But
Bitcoin, Ethereum,
well,
Cardona,
but do you
all the
think
ones that.
those people who are investing in shitcoins would ultimately be able to, shall I say, afford or want to
Yeah.
purchase the higher price? Do you think?
Well, but I think that's the same thing that happened during the dot-com bubble. Is there were legit companies back then, like companies that are legit today, like Cisco. If you don't know, Cisco is
Hmm,
they're a
hmm.
multi-billion-dollar company. That was a legit company that you should have bought during the dot-com bubble that you didn't. And eventually, after people lost thousands of dollars in the
Y'all just
shitty
saved
tech
my ass.
company,
I don't know.
they eventually invested in something like Cisco because that was a company that was still around. They showed crazy growth. Like there's positives that people eventually put their money into those at what once were high growth tech names. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking might happen or might need to happen in the crypto space um, for things like Bitcoin and Ethereum to survive. Because I think if people just keep making more coins and there's continuously more and
It's gonna dilute
more,
the market.
it dilutes the market, and that's going to stop Bitcoin and Ethereum to actually being successful and really bringing it to the macro markets. Because the thing is like
Yeah, they're
Bitcoin and
following.
Ethereum are never going to get legit enough if the dilution or the amount of coins doesn't decrease because there's just too much money spread out. That's my personal opinion. Um, but it would be unfortunate because there is a lot of people's money, um,
So do you think,
a lot
kind of
of people's
theoretical
money.
here, do you think those same people who are buying shitcoins, I'm going to kind of rephrase my question. You think those people who are buying the shitcoins would ultimately be buying into Ethereum and Bitcoin anyway? Or do you think that's a completely different, shall I call,
Yeah,
investor or
yeah, it's like the mindset of the investor, which is important, right?
yeah,
That
but
kind of what
to
you're looking for.
legitimize, I think to your point, legitimize Bitcoin and some of the other coins that have real relevance and opportunity. Do you think those same people would ultimately be buying in to Ethereum? Thanks, Bryce. Appreciate you, man. To Ethereum and Bitcoin, or do you think they are? They, I don't want to say they don't matter. That doesn't. That's not what I want to say. But they're irrelevant when it comes to legitimizing the other coins because they're so focused on just speculating on the shit coins, right? Like Ethereum over 100, yeah, well over $100. Ethereum Classic is dropped a little bit now, but a strong pullback. But when you're talking Bitcoin and some of these other ones, these aren't 10 cent, 1 cent Bitcoins. These are, legitimate coins trying to make a move to to decentralize currency and so forth. So do you think these retail traders who are buying these shit coins would ultimately be buying Bitcoin anyway as a currency? Or are they
Well,
opportunists trying to buy this stuff now because it's the hype? I'm curious
I
to hear what
think
other
the
people have to say
uh,
too.
yeah, I want to hear your guys' perspective too.
Yeah,
My
King, you got it.
opinion,
Yeah.
I think there's always going to be these smaller speculative companies, just like there's in the stock market. That's never stopped. And we can use the SPACs as an example. Like SPACs went up a bit and they pulled back, and there was basically like I would say a SPAC crash that has yet to come back. Yeah, you're right, Jake. People are trying to next best thing. But what's I would say is what's eventually going to happen is, and it already has some for these speculative coins, is eventually
I see going big.
because what people are doing is they just see like someone posts something on Twitter, or they see something, they see a YouTube video about this little coin. They don't know anything about it, and they're just buying it
Mm-hmm.
because it's
Mm-hmm.
2 cents, and if it goes at 10 cents, they made thousands of percent on their investment. Yeah, I agree with you, King. They're done buying a shit coin in the short term, but I think that's what's happening is people aren't buying it for the short term anymore. They're holding it on because they've seen things like Dogecoin go from 0.002 cents to 20 cents. They're like, oh, if Dogecoin can do that, then this little coin can do it too. But I think what people aren't doing, and this is the same that happened in the tech bubble, is people are just buying things to buy things.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening in crypto right now is people are just buying things to buy things. They see, like I said, they see some little post, they see a chat room, and then they buy it. And obviously, there's a lot more access, so I think things are moving more violently than they could have during the dot-com bubble. But in my mind, that's a super red flag for the overall market is when you see these tactics starting to happen. It could happen for another year. It could happen I don't know how long that could go on for, but for me, it's starting to uh, raise red flags. And I think for the crypto market to be successful in the long term, it needs a crash so all the money goes in the more legit projects.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just one perspective.
I can agree with that. What was
Differently, but
I mean
that's
the
just my perspective on things.
yeah, 100%. I think that's accurate. I know we were talking the other day, and Jake was part of this, but Gemini, kind of on that same line of crypto. Gemini and the credit cards that are coming out, where you can kind of put your
Yeah.
money. I'm gonna throw up this other
Get
screen.
one of those. Yeah, if you guys haven't already, Gemini, it's basically they're trying to become like a Coinbase, I would say is the easiest way to put it. And so they're coming out with a credit card and some other, I think crypto.com already has a credit card. But basically what they're doing is instead of traditionally you can get points at crypto at
No,
30K and have it run to 60K.
lost.
Yeah, I bought some Bitcoin at 30K and I put it in the Discord chat. If you're not a part of that, join. Um,
Yeah, Bitcoin's a little expensive. We're buying
so
fractions. Yeah.
So yeah, so Junes, this is something I think a lot of people don't have education on yet either, and it's by no one's fault. Is you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can buy $10 worth of Bitcoin. You can buy a fraction of a token. And so in the long term, I rather buy Bitcoin, which I think is legit based on the research I've done. I rather buy $50 worth of that than buying $50 of some gamble of a shit coin as people are calling it.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
That's just my opinion. But yeah, you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You don't have to buy a whole Ethereum. You can buy small portions of a token. For context, we didn't make it. Oh my gosh, dumb, bro. We didn't make it, by the way, Nate.
And now I'm bagging out.
Oh shit. Yeah, if you're managing your risk, yeah, you make sure you don't get wiped out.
Yeah.
I agree.
LTC.
Litecoin. But that's just like I think a perspective to start thinking about is that's awesome, Jake. That's a great game.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah, during the Dogecoin run, there were so many of these little coins that were making crazy runs. It's cooled off a little bit since then. It could happen again, I don't know, but um, in a long-term investment, like in my opinion, if you're up 500% on Dogecoin, take 50% of that gain and put it into Bitcoin. Um,
Yeah, I bought like
that, that'd
$100
be
of Bitcoin the other day.
that would be my suggestion is take some of those profits from Dogecoin, because honestly, Dogecoin is not an investment. Dogecoin is a bet and it's a gamble. So take some of those gains and put it into, an Ethereum or a Cardona, even though that's a little bit higher risk, or a Bitcoin. Just take some of those gains and put it into something a little bit more legit. I think that would be a smart move from my perspective. I'm not a financial advisor, so